much strength and athleticism.
Yeah, the tough thing too with strongman is like you're one of the lighter guys. So, a lot of those guys are 150 kilos plus, 331 pounds. And it's tougher for someone like you because you're super lean, you're lighter. You're not like, how tall are you? 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'1" on a good day.
We can round up. That's cool. But like a lot of these guys are 6'5", though. It's like,
It's true.
so they just have the size advantage, which gives them better leverages.
100%. But when I think of that, I think about what I've accomplished in powerlifting. I've always been the lighter guy lifting more than the bigger ones. And that's because I've been really lucky in my genetic makeup. I have really ideal leverages for squat, bench, and deadlift. I've always had a nice balance of all three. And what really motivated me as of late to get back into strongman and give it a try is that now that Thor and Eddie are no longer competing, right? That has kind of leveled the playing field for everybody else because the giants are kind of out. Brian Shaw's not in it. Thor's not in it. Eddie's not in it. I mean, we have like Tom Stoltman now, right? He's like 6'8", and he's also a behemoth. And he won most recently, But besides him, everyone else, is like, we're on the level playing field. The other one who won besides Tom Stoltman is Novikov. He's 6 foot, 130 kg, and he beat a lot of the giants. I mean, I'm very close to 130 kg. I'm like 127 on most days. I stick around that weight now. So it's very realistic that I could pull off a first place win at either WSM or WS, which are the two biggest comps in strongman. As long as I play my cards right, I peak appropriately, I stay healthy. Because the thing with strongman is like injuries are inevitable, right? So if you can get through a prep, healthy and make it to game day uninjured and peaked appropriately, like maybe the giant guy, maybe like Tom, for example, is injured, and he's not at 100%, right? So like there's so many different factors that you have to account for when you're doing strongman. Like also your speed and condition is really important. Being a lighter guy, I'll have the advantage of that. And a lot of the strongman comps like have a healthy balance of speed and conditioning plus like 1 rep max compound lifts. So if you can find like a place in the middle there, you can get a win over the bigger guys that will definitely suffer. And when it comes to like speed and conditioning, with like if you're 180 kg, 6'8", you can only move but so fast. You're definitely going to gas out faster than someone like my size or Novikov's size. So the possibility is there, no doubt. I'm optimistic about it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too is like people have given you flack. They're like, oh, injuries and all this. It's like, what do you guys expect when you're pushing your body to that level? Like I've been in powerlifting and I've been see people trying to squat, bench, and deadlift heavy. You're going to tear stuff. It's just inevitable. And if anyone pays attention to strongman, everybody tears stuff. Everybody. Nobody gets through it unscathed. So you take unfair criticism as far as that goes because you have a big audience and you're like an easy target. And people are just trying to get content out with that stuff. But it's kind of ridiculous because it's like, what do you guys think if you're pushing your body to your limit? What's going to happen? It's like, this is inevitable. So that's kind of one thing where I just want to say it's not exactly, a fair criticism, but.
Yeah, and in that sense, like you got to respect the guys in strongman who have such a high risk for injury. And I got into it as well because I realized that, look, just if I were to pick any sport and play at the highest level, even if you were to play tennis at the highest level, for example, any sport, the risk for injury is there because you're pushing your body to that, you're pushing the envelope. Or especially like the big sports like American football and European football, like think of how many injuries these guys have to deal with, right? So like all the sports at the highest level, there's, you have to worry about injuries. Just like you mentioned, I have a big platform and I'm an easy target, but I don't let that get the best of me. I've had dozens of injuries at this rate. Only one that I can't come back from, which is the bicep tear. But it's only affected my strength, and that's by 5%. So it's nothing like that's really going to set me back all too much. Yeah, so I'm happy to play my. I'm happy to get into the sport full throttle as long as I'm smart with training. I can keep the chance of injury to a minimum. Yeah.
So is like the ultimate goal to win World's Strongest Man?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, win as many comps as I can. There's World's Strongest Man, World's Ultimate Strongman. There's the Arnold. The Arnold would be the most satisfying because of the atmosphere. You have so many people watching live. I mean, it's like at the Arnold in Columbus. It's ridiculous. So imagine you're hitting a deadlift PR there, right? Like, what would be more of an adrenaline rush than that, right? So I look forward to doing that.
So does strongman pretty much have your focus for like the foreseeable future? That's kind of what you're going all in on right now.
Yeah, 100%. And the last 4 weeks, which is very, very recent, I started doing agility training once a week for about 2 hours every Friday. And from week 1 to 2 to 3 and now 4, like each week, I notice a substantial increase in my stamina and how high my BPM gets, how quickly it comes down, how much less recovery time I need between sets. And I'm never trained for cardio. I never tried to push my cardiovascular endurance. So this is really cool to see that I'm actually becoming a more well-rounded athlete, getting lighter on my feet as a result. And I actually feel like an athlete now. I would always joke about my friends and people would ask me about like getting into powerlifting, how it's kind of like a lazy man sport because you have like 15 minutes rest in between sets. You can damn near have snacks and gummy bears and cookies in between sets, and it's like it's like you don't feel like an athlete. Like I didn't at least. I never felt like an athlete doing powerlifting. I felt really strong though. Don't get it twisted. But I never felt like an athlete because I would struggle if I had to have a light jog or had to walk more than an hour or stand for a few hours at once. Like I had to deal with a lot of there's a lot of consequences to being that big and not well-rounded and fit. Like I didn't sleep well. And whenever I'd have a collaboration with someone from another sport background, like bodybuilding, for example, or CrossFit especially, I'd always be struggling to keep up with them because their rest periods are so much shorter. The workouts are have much higher intensity. And, like it started to get to me, I don't feel very healthy. I don't feel very fit. I want to change that. And, but I would never get on the treadmill or do the Stairmaster, just mind-numbingly boring. So when I do this agility training for strongmen, it's really fun. I got to watch my feet doing things like the ladder or like vertical jumps and stuff. So, I have to focus quite intensively. And as a result, like the time flies by. So I'm getting in really good cardiovascular training and, the time moving quite quick. So I can sustain this kind of training and cardio. And like I said, it's already making quite a significant difference in how long it takes me to recover between sets and such.